Will Deshaun Jackson return to the lineup this week? Will the Skins be without both starting cornerbacks this week? Will Kyle Shanahan finally get revenge for his father? Why am I asking you guys all these questions? All that, your tweets and more right now on the Hog Style.
It's the Hog Style.
Gents, we are back. We are back on YouTube. We are back on iTunes. Back. And this is Alex East talking to you along with Steve.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
And, of course, we have Deadeye Duncan. How's it going there?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
All right. So, guys, first I want to do a quick thank you again to Rick Snyder for coming on our show earlier this week. I thought that interview went great, a lot of fun. And do you guys have any quick thoughts on it? Steve, I know you kind of missed it.
Yeah, I was sad that I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I did listen to the interview. I thought he was a really good guest. You know, he's kind of the dean of the beat writers. Had a lot of great stories. I don't know who is left there that actually interviewed and interacted with Jack Kent Cooke, but him.
I don't think there's anybody. Apparently, Grant Paulson, though. That might be the one person.
That's just that in and of itself made it a worthwhile listen to hear him say anything about what Jack Kent Cooke was like. I thought it was neat.
Yeah, so, I agree.
So thanks to Rick Snyder. It was fun to listen to.
Yeah, Robbie, here's my one thing. We could not get him off the phone, and that was great.
Well, I know. It's like, well, all right, Rick, thanks a lot for joining us. Well, I have another story for you.
Hey, at least he was a talker. Sometimes they aren't.
We love it.
Oh, no wonder he has his own podcast.
It looked like Sean was trying to wrap it up about 3 times, though.
He did. He did. We got a triple encore. It was cool. Well, if you guys out there in radio land, podcast land, hadn't heard it already, you definitely should. That interview was right up there with the Doc Walker interview as just a highlight of our little flagship show right now. Guys, let's just get right into this week. I'm a little worried about these Falcons.
I'm a lot worried about the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to approach this game. Do I just get really shit-faced hammered beforehand? Let's talk about the offense first and what they can do against the Falcons' defense, if anything.
Well, I'll start by saying this is the part of the Falcons that I'm not as worried about. I mean, they're a little bit better now that they have Dan Quinn running the operation there, but I mean, still talent-wise, they're not the most talented, but they are blue-collar guys that just, do everything with a nonstop motor and are coachable. But I'm not as worried about them, obviously, as the offense. So it should be just a normal case of pound the rock and don't make dumb decisions.
Yeah, but Robbie, I mean, we can pound the rock, but also they are ranked 30th in the NFL in passing yards surrendered. Believe it or not. And 28th in total yards. So I think their pass defense is vulnerable also. So it's not just a matter of – I think our offense ought to be able to move the ball pretty well against them is the point.
Well, so was the Giants' defense, though. They were, like, second to last in pass yards given up and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, we may lay an egg. They're just a good team, And the Falcons, played – have played the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, and beat all of them. Whereas we lost one of those games, But
the Giants almost had the Falcons beat too. Yeah. I mean, the Falcons are beatable.
Yeah, I think for us offensively, after pouring over the stats for our written game preview and everything, what I realized was that our offense is moving the ball pretty well in most phases of the game. The problem is we are not getting the ball in the end zone. Really and truly, that is the problem, and it's been the problem for a while. When you compare our yards gained versus scoring percentage, it just doesn't add up. And if you look at it, you go and you see that we have a terrible turnover ratio and we have an incredibly high number of penalties.
Yeah, I mean, we know that's what lost us the Miami game. That's what lost us the Miami game. But what I mean, I don't know what we can say they should just do about that. That really is a coaching question at this point.
Oh, it is.
And we'll see. Maybe this is just something that they have to work on over time. I don't know if there's any way to fix this kind of problem overnight.
Well, Robbie, I've got a question for you in terms of
Shoot.
the offense. We know we're going to run the ball, but I think we need to talk about what that means a little bit.
Sure.
Because we've got this triple-headed Hydra thing going of Morris, Jones, and Thompson, and I'm wondering,
Hail Hydra.
and I'm wondering which of those guys is the right guy to get the bulk of the carries this week.
I mean, I wouldn't be. I'd be surprised if it wasn't Alfred who's getting the majority of those carries.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Jones had his great game against the Rams. Hadn't really done as much since then. He fumbles the ball. Gruden says he's not in the doghouse, but I mean, it is what it is. But I think we should all be expecting more of Chris Thompson. I don't think last game was a one-time thing. I think they're really trying to get Thompson more involved and really kind of change the pace of their running game because both Alfred and Matt Jones are basically the same type of back.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the kind of thing we have to. And, I haven't watched much of the Falcons, to be honest. I kind of had it in the background when they were playing the Cowboys at one point. But, has any particular kind of running back done better against them that you guys can think of? Or, has anyone really gashed them yet? I know statistically it doesn't look like that, but somebody might have had one big game or something in there.
I haven't paid attention to that part of it, but what I have caught on to it from watching them play is their defense is a very get to the football type of team. They really pursue and chase to the football. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we could use that against them with some of our bootleg plays, play action plays,
bubble screens,
make them bubble
some
screens,
draws,
make them
maybe.
make them chase after Alfred on a fake handoff and let Kirk do his thing in the bootleg stuff. I think we should expect a lot of that.
And to answer your question about them being gashed, I can tell you they haven't been gashed by anybody. They've surrendered 341 total rushing yards, 4.4 yards per attempt on 77 attempts, and so nobody's gone wild.
4.4 isn't great.
Oh, it's not that good, but point is nobody's run wild and gotten 180 yards on them or anything like that.
Here's something I do. I don't know if Gruden would even consider it, but here's something I would do to kind of add a wrinkle to the running game to kind of change it up a little bit. They haven't shown it at all this so far, but run a little read option to Vic Beasley's side, the rookie pass rusher who's on Trent Williams' side. Run a little read option with Kirk. Let him chase after the running back, thinking he's going to make a big play, chasing the running back from behind, and just take off and get what you can and slide. I think that would really kind of catch him off guard. We haven't shown any of that yet.
Now, you like Vic Beasley, right, Robbie?
Yes, I was a big Vic Beasley fan going into the draft. I secretly wanted us to get him, but I was happy with Brandon Scherf. So,
can Trent handle him? Do we need to be worried about Vic Beasley?
No, I'm not worried at all. I'm just really anxious to watch that matchup. It's going to be a good test for Trent. I don't think he's faced anybody as explosive off the edge as him, other than maybe Junior Gillette when they were in training camp. But this season, he's not going to face anyone faster off the snap than Vic Beasley. And this is going to be fun. I mean, Vic Beasley's a small guy, so once Trent gets a hold of him, I think he's going to just maul him and handle him easily. But it's just getting used to the speed of it. Just setting for depth, not kicking to him, because Vic Beasley has one of those dangerous spin moves as well. He's known for that. Yeah. So if you don't play with good technique, that spin move will get you.
I look over the Falcons roster.
I'd run it to his side, by the way, too. I'd let Trent just set the edge, run some stretch plays, outside zone stuff right at Vic Beasley. That's what I would do.
I'm looking at the Falcons roster right now, and not a lot of names that you would consider household names in the NFL on defense. So Robbie, who else should I be looking out for if I'm a Redskins fan here?
Well, I'll shout out their middle linebacker, Paul Warlow. He's a graduate from Delaware.
Good last name, too. That's like a badass-sounding super villain name right there.
Played against him for 2 years when I was at ODU. I was actually kind of surprised. I had no idea that he was even really considered for the NFL. He's really kind of seized his opportunity and become a leader on their defense. And I think he's been a tackle leader for, the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a good linebacker. He kind of flies under the radar, but he's good. So it's kind of cool to see, a guy like him that I played against is making something happen.
Yeah, that's good
out there.
Where I look naturally in terms of the Atlanta's defense is their secondary, because their passing defense stats, as I said, are just, abysmally awful,
right?
Terrible. And so you go down
being coached by Raheem Morris, by the way.
Yeah. They do have some talent.
That gives me some comfort as a fan.
They do have some talented guys. Desmond Trufant has some talent. Rob Alford, who's the other starting corner, has some talent. But I don't know what it is. They have just not been good. And so you have to think that this is another game where, they're going to let Kirk do something more than just the screen passes. The
managing,
the game managing stuff. I think this is a game where you take some strikes downfield, when you get the right coverage.
Well, especially if, and it's sounding like it might be maybe a chance that Deshaun Jackson comes back. Those downfield shots, if he's there.
We took our downfield shots last week more so than we ever had all season.
Yeah,
I think I wouldn't be surprised to see more, We got Rashad Ross that's stepping up and doing something finally. He showed he can catch a long ball against a pro.
And he made a nice adjustment on, let's be honest, that was a short-thrown ball.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and you got Crowder catching a ball over 3 guys. So I think we'll be okay as long as Kirk is smart and takes care of the football.
Yeah, good Kirk. We need good Kirk.
Yeah, I don't know how many games in a row he can pull good Kirk, so let's hope it's at least one more. Just Deshaun Jackson, technically speaking, is listed as limited, and I think he practiced at least in individual drills on Thursday, as late as Thursday. So I just kind of get the sense that he may be back, whereas I didn't last week.
Robbie, you're shaking your head no right now. You don't think he's back?
Yeah, I think it's a good sign that he's coming back, but I don't think they're going to push it and force him to come back on this Sunday.
No.
I think it's just slowly working him into it. I'd be surprised if he played. I'll be happy if he plays, but I'm just not expecting it. It doesn't look really like it's the smart move to me. He's already kind of fragile as it is. No need to make it worse.
Sure. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but at least he's making progress. We can at least see that much.
Well, here's something interesting to look at too. I don't know what we're going to do at tight end. We got Derek Carrier that's a guy.
Yeah.
he's a good athlete.
He has hands and feet and
legs. He's a human being who is going to line up any position of tight end.
He's a carbon-based life form.
Hey, he made a couple strong catches last week, though.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I think he'll be okay. I'm just curious to see how Gruden will use him, if he'll use him the same way he did with Jordan Reed.
Somebody just today, this afternoon, asked me about Jordan Reed because he was on his fantasy team, and I just kind of had to shake my head. I said, listen, man, he's got a concussion, he's got a sprained knee, he's got a sprained ankle. This is his 4th concussion. Maybe you ought to do the math.
Is he a Florida guy?
I shook the
guy who asked you, was he a Florida fan?
No, he was not a Florida fan.
It wasn't Gatorskins, was it?
No. It was somebody that you guys don't know.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
Shake the 8 ball, and it'll tell you outlook not good.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
And then the 8 ball has a concussion because you shook it.
Let's talk about Reed for just a minute. I've never had a concussion. Robbie, have you had a concussion in football that you know of at least?
I have one that I know of. It was a very minor one. Against Villanova. Went up and blocked their middle linebacker. We kind of banged heads. Saw a white flash and then kind of got fuzzy in my right eye. But
usually a pretty good team, I know, in Division II.
They're talented.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is
1AA.
The reason I ask is that this is his 4th concussion because he's had 2 in college. Yep. He had the one in his rookie year that kept him out, 6 games, maybe 7 games, something like that.
6 games.
And I know the test. I'm no doctor. None of us are medical doctors here. Just say that up front. But I know the test is. Yeah, but I play one on the radio. We're about to.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night.
But I know that the test isn't how many concussions you've had. The test is what are your symptoms and are they getting worse and worse. And if we go back through Redskins history, Clinton Portis retired in no small part because of a concussion, as did many other people. I'm legitimately wondering, without knowing a thing about his symptoms, if Jordan Reed is getting to the point where it may be a career-threatening thing.
It's possible he could pull a Chris Borland or whatever and just quit early because of that. But
he doesn't strike me as the type to do that. But
well, yes, he might not have a choice. I will not be surprised if that happens because that movie's coming out about the whole concussion issue with Will Smith. It's going to be that big Oscar bait movie. Don't be surprised if that does affect one or two NFL players and they react and quit. And, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, but, they got to take that with a grain of salt because it is Hollywood.
Yeah, I understand that, but we don't know as much about how many concussions, there's no one has a measurement for, all right, you've sat out this many weeks from concussions, you're probably going to have CTE or anything like that.
Well, I don't think the data is really available yet for that.
No, that's what I mean.
The scary thing about the Reed injuries, it didn't look like he got hit really that hard on the play that I think was the concussion play.
It's like I said, he kind of just got teabagged, and that's what caused it.
That's the thing about concussions, though. It doesn't have to be a big hit.
Yeah.
Like, it could just be a simple bang, I accidentally banged my head against the wall here. That's a minor concussion.
Are you saying you've banged your head against the wall after Redskin losses there, Robbie? And
I can neither confirm nor deny.
But anyway, back to in terms of game preview part of it, the question at tight end, we are stuck with who we have at tight end. I did see a blurb this week that the Redskins were contemplating using Tom Compton.
Good.
So, we'll see. He's certainly not going to be on a pass play.
No.
But that
it'll help the running game though.
Yeah, because Anthony McCoy has got the size. He's like 6'6", 258 or something like that. But I haven't seen anything that shows that he's some sort of great blocker.
No, and there was some mutterings about should Jerome Ham be called back and gotten back on the squad. If Reed is out for a significant amount of time, I'm pretty worried about it. And I honestly do think I put the odds of him ever being on the field again if he misses significant time at like 50-50.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say this about McCoy. He's I don't think worse than Derek Carrier at blocking. I think he's better than Carrier at blocking, actually. But, as an overall tight end, obviously Carrier is better. But in regards to blocking,
you think Cooley's back there somewhere just rubbing his hands together?
He can rub his hands all he wants.
Yeah, I know.
But really, if Reed is out,
excellent.
I think we're working under the assumption that Jordan Reed is not going to be there. He hasn't practiced through Thursday at least. Barring some miraculous comeback. Yeah, it really limits our offense. If we have no Deshaun Jackson, no Jordan Reed, our two top playmakers are out. That really puts the onus on probably Crowder.
I was going to say because Crowder's kind of stepped up and been that third down target. At least last week he was.
And let's not Ryan Grant did a lot of good things last week too. So maybe it's just you got to get these guys in positions where they can make easy catches and move the chains for us, and that's how we'll roll.
Yeah, and I think the easy thing to conclude on Jordan Reed, the whole concussion thing, is he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. His reputation is what it is, and
for a reason.
Until he actually gets cleared, we're going to say he's out for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, and he even had a series of strange injuries at Florida, too. It wasn't like this just happened, when he hit Washington, D.C.
We talked about it way back on an early show, and I asked Robbie, I remember, some guys, they're just injury prone, and, guys in the locker room, they know it, right, Robbie? And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Well, I have one last thing I'd like to touch on, the offense. I don't know about you guys, but did you watch the Saints-Cowboys game?
Some of it.
No.
Did you see the end of it when they were in overtime?
Yes.
Yeah, C.J. Spiller had this awesome wheel route pass. It was a walk-off home touchdown type thing. I said after watching that game that Jay Gruden needs to steal that play from the Saints and use it with Chris Thompson. Because it was gorgeous. He was in the shotgun, ran a wheel route, and linebacker was one-on-one with him. and just couldn't keep up with C.J. Spiller, and he was
You
gone.
mean kind of like the Chris Thompson play we ran against the Giants that got called back when Jordan Reed had the pick?
Yeah.
Tell the fans what a wheel route is, Robbie.
All right, so a wheel route is the running back basically runs to the flat, makes it look like it's a flat route, and then he cuts upfield and runs basically a fly, straight 9 route.
And
so
when
he just sells it like he's going to run a flat, and then cuts upfield, running straight down the sideline.
And when the Saints ran that play, Spiller was wide open. Nobody even near him. It was obviously a busted play by Dallas.
They baited the linebacker. It's that simple.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a great mismatch. They set it up perfectly.
Yeah, they did. Okay.
All right. Well, I think. Well, let's move on to defense at this point. I've had enough feeling confident now, so let's talk about how our defense is going to stop this offense with what could possibly be 2 backup cornerbacks.
Yeah, raise your hand if you're confident that Quentin Dunbar can shut down Julio Jones. Anyone?
Nope.
Especially after his just completely idiotic fair catch interference play.
Oh, Lord.
Or unnecessary roughness, whatever it was.
I really want Dunbar to work out long term, but that was bad. Dunbar
it was a very Redskins thing to do.
Let's be honest. Dunbar's a great feel-good story, but that was bad.
That's like playing Madden and you're playing against a guy, you punt the ball, and he waits like till the very last second to wave his hand for the fair catch, and you run up and hit him. It's like,
except the guy didn't wait till the last minute to raise his hand. I know. He just hit him anyway. Okay, defense-wise, let's talk about the Falcons' offense. For those who don't know, the Falcons
points.
The Falcons are a powerhouse on offense.
Yeah.
Most specifically in the passing game. They are second in the NFL in points. They're fourth in the NFL in total yards. They're fourth in the NFL in passing yards. Julio Jones is number 1 in the NFL in catches, yards, and touchdowns. He is tearing up the NFL. And it's not just him running 9 routes. This guy is a legitimate number 1 wide receiver all over the field. He can run every route. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster than everybody
He's basically
out there.
Terrell Owens in his prime right now.
Yes, that's a very good. Yeah, and so our problem here is that D'Angelo Hall is almost assuredly not going to play. He's going to be out. Chris Culliver looks like he's probably going to be out too. And so now we're down.
You know what? If he's hurt, we saw how bad it was last week. I don't want him on the field.
Yeah. So now that means in the secondary we're down to Bashaud Breeland and a bunch of other guys who even the Hogsty would maybe have trouble naming, and that's not going to be good.
Jarrett.
What they're saying is if that's the case and Culliver's out, is our top 3 corners. It's not going to be Will Blackman. It's going to be Breeland, Dunbar on the outside on nickel situations, and Jarrett as our nickel back.
And I think
so.
Jarrett
will be our number 2 guy in a standard look. Then, right?
Yeah, and Jarrett at least has a little bit of credibility because he's played well in the nickel. So he's not going to wet the bed. At least
I don't know how much you guys take his grades as gospel or not, but Chris Cooley gave Jarrett a really high grade for last week's game.
Yeah.
Gave him an A-. And he's not really one to give out high grades like that willy-nilly.
Well, I don't like the grading thing just in general, but the one thing that I like about Jared is, it seems like the real pros are just falling in love with the guy. Snyder, when we had him on, he said Jarrett would be one of his names for a possible future team leader. So, maybe he has something there.
I see it. Yeah.
Well,
he's definitely looking like this year's Breeland in that sense.
Well, of course, if Jared was our number 2, that means he's going to be lined up over either Leonard Hankerson or Julio Jones, depending on the formation. I don't think that the Redskins have the corners to flip the field, and have somebody chase Julio the entire game. They're not going to do that because it's pointless. So,
I think we'll be in a lot of zone. I don't think we're going to be in a lot of man-to-man.
We don't have the personnel to cover those guys man-to-man.
And let's not forget, when you're talking about, you got White on the other side still, you have Devin Hester. They've got a lot of dangerous weapons there.
Robbie White he missed a practice this week. I don't know why that was. He's not on the injury list, but he missed a practice. So I don't know what
maybe
that
one
means.
of those flu-like symptoms type hangover injuries.
I don't know, but he's not on the injury list. So yeah, I think all three of them are probably going to play. And obviously, Redskin fans remember Leonard Hankerson, who was in Washington, who was our great hope to be the next talented receiver. He didn't work out, but he's 6'2". Robbie, how big is Julio? Either you or Alex?
Julio's he's 6'4".
6'4".
I'm pretty sure.
So they've got, and Roddy White is not that big, but we don't have corners that can match up with that size at all.
No.
Dunbar's our biggest one. He's 6'2", I think.
Yeah,
but that's it, and that's a undrafted wide receiver that was converted to cornerback this year for the pros.
I got to be honest. I mean, I'm really, really worried about our secondary. I think the only answer to it is pressure on the quarterback. You got to get to Matt Ryan in time, so he does not have time to let those routes develop. We got to put him in a situation where he has to dump the ball off to his hot read.
Well, and that brings us to the one question is, how do we take advantage of Mr. Chris Chester then? Because, if I'm looking at their O-line, there's a lot of talent on that O-line, but Chester looks like something we as Redskins fans at least should all think, well, there's your hole.
Well, you know what? Yeah. The Falcons are happy with him.
Yeah, I know, but that's because they're running that Kyle Shanahan system.
Yeah.
And Chester is built for that, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, I'd line up Jason Hatcher right over top of him, Chris Baker even, just let him bull rush him. Chris Chester, we know, can't handle a strong bull rush. He gets tossed like a rag doll. I'd put maybe even just line up Knighton against him because we don't really run the 3-4 anymore. I don't know if you guys noticed, but
we're running.
Last week we were in 100% nickel all game. Put Knighton right over top of Chris Chester and say, "Hey, Terrence, just bull rush, Chris Chester. You're going to disrupt something."
Well, and Robbie, tell the fans what nickel means. I mean, I think everybody will know that it means that there's an extra DB on the field, but tell them what that means for the front, for the defensive line and the linebackers.
Defensive line, it's just your normal front four. You got your 2 DNs and 2 D tackles. 2 linebackers, it's like a 4-2 look, and then you got your 5 DBs, 3 corners and 2 safeties.
Right. Well, in our case, it's more of a 2-4 look, though, let's be honest, because we're going 2 linemen. We got our 2 outside linebacker kind of players with Kerrigan and Murphy or Smith or whoever's playing that spot.
True, but they've been
lined up. They've been lined up, and what I was getting at is it's a 4-3 look minus one of the linebackers and add a DB. Basically, is what it is. And Robbie's right. I mean, those guys have our outside linebackers have been lined up hand in the dirt. I've been hard pressed to see them line up in a true 4-3, which I don't think they did the entire game against the Eagles.
No.
And I personally love this 4-2-5 defense. I mean, Jarrett a lot of times has been a run support nickel corner. I mean, when they go into the pass downs, obviously he covers, but he's been playing up at the line of scrimmage like a third safety almost.
I love that look, by the way, too.
Yeah. I love it because you have your 4 guys, just let them rush, let them get to the quarterback. You don't need to do a lot of crazy blitzes that you get gashed on if you don't get to the quarterback. So I love the look personally.
Yeah, I think the thing that's nice about when Jarrett's playing that spot when when everyone's healthy is being a safety. He's still a little more physical than your normal corner. So that provides a little more extra something for the run game.
Well, I'm wondering if
that's the big thing that the nickel can be taken advantage of with. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but the Falcons do have Devonta Freeman. I'm not sure he's
Devontae.
Devontae. Sorry, and he has for Atlanta. He's been good. But Atlanta hasn't been a good rushing team for a while now. He's only averaging 3.8 yards per carry. The threat truly is pass. It makes me wonder if Joe Barry's going to blitz more this game. Out of necessity.
I would think you almost have to.
Not only that, I think you got to almost, with whatever you have out there, personnel-wise, you got to get a little creative. Show them looks that they haven't seen on film, just to try and throw them off a little.
Yeah, I mean, go back to some of that cover zero stuff that we've been successful at. I mean, don't do it every play, but
no.
throw it in there as a change of just to kind of throw them off. make the O-line think.
So you're saying Joe Barry's going
to
you're saying Joe Barry's going to pull Quentin Dunbar aside and say, "Okay, Quentin, listen, we're going cover 0 this series. You got Julio. Go." That's what's going to happen.
Hey, you gotta take some risks.
Yeah, I guess.
In order to.
If I were Atlanta, I would look at the Redskins defense and see that they've been pretty darn good against the rush.
Yeah.
Atlanta's rushing game is good but not great. And then when they look at our beat up secondary, I think we're going to see a pass heavy game plan from the Falcons.
I think so too. If they run it more than 15 times, I'll be shocked.
Yeah. Why would they?
Yeah.
I don't know though. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's he likes to pass, but he likes to run it too. I mean, Freeman's been he's kind of been coming alive these past 2 weeks. He's got 7 touchdowns. He's high up there with the rushing stuff. I mean, not a lot of yards, but they do like to pound the rock, and that's kind of opened up their passing attack a little bit more too because of Freeman.
Do you guys realize that Freeman has more than double the touchdowns that all of our running backs have combined?
Yeah. Well, they have the advantage that you get in that red zone. Everyone's going to worry about covering those receivers.
But the thing is, with Freeman, he kind of has been doing it all on his own. I mean, they had their rookie Tevin Coleman that was hurt. I think he's going to be back against us this week. And then there's another guy that didn't really get a lot of catches. I can't remember his name, but it's pretty much been all Devontae Freeman up to this point. He's been successful. He's getting a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, no doubt. We will certainly see him, but just personally, I think I'd be shocked if it wasn't certainly a pass-heavy game plan that we're just going to have to stop.
I'm certainly not expecting us to have a hard time stopping their running game. I'm just pointing out that it's not anything to overlook, I guess.
Well, so I guess let's talk about the last aspect of this game. Our special teams is going against. He's probably not what he used to be, but Devin Hester's their kick returner. Matt Bryan, a very solid kicker, and they have their punter, Matt Bosher. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, honestly. Bosher, but they let him kick off. I thought that I was told you are not allowed to do that by certain members of the hamster community.
I will say that in terms of special teams, Atlanta's punt return game has been pretty darn quality. They average 11.4 yards per return.
Like I said, it is Devin Hester.
Yeah. Long of 57 yards. Contrast that with our punt return game, which is sort of the opposite of that. 4.7 yards per return. Our punt return game just stinks, to be perfectly honest.
No, I liked seeing them give Crowder a shot, but I'm already ready to move on to Ross on the punt return game.
Anybody. Not put Niles Paul back there again. Let him hop out there.
Not sure if that would work right now with him having a leg in a cast. He could fall forward for more yards than we've gotten.
It's almost. It just amazes me that we can't get more than 4 yards, 4.5 yards per punt return. I think you could just almost walk that far and not get tackled.
Not with our guys blocking.
I was about to say, it's not all just Crowder, though. I mean, he's not helping his case, but he's not getting a lot of help from his guys that are going downfield and blocking for him on the punt returns either. It's the whole operation, and it does need to get better. I mean, if anything, I'd say, hey, if we can't frickin' block and return a punt, let's just go block it. Design some schemes to block a punt.
Rush 10.
Guys in the NFL, teams in the NFL don't really try to block punts anymore. I mean, it happens, but it's not like
happens against us.
It's not like it's really designed. It just kind of happens. Guys beat somebody and block a punt.
That's something I don't think the typical fan understands. We're not in a situation where the NFL is not in a situation where if there's a crucial kick, a crucial punt, the coach just goes, okay, no problem. We're going to put in the block play. Let's insert the punt block play. That doesn't happen. It's either a stroke of luck or you face a really bad special teams like Washington.
Right. Just like field goals.
Yeah, exactly.
No one designs field goal block.
No.
You watch them on. They're not even trying to block it unless you're like J.J. Watt, who
or it's a critical situation, and then in which case they'll try.
I would say 90% of the extra points, at least last year, maybe it's changed now with the new length on the extra points. The guys take a knee. during the extra point. They don't
Yeah,
even go and touch somebody.
Or they immediately just stand right up and
Yep.
hey, nice drive. That was a good play.
Hey, Alex,
for
what
you,
was
though.
the name of the punter again? Atlanta's punter?
Bosher, Bosher.
Well, Mr. Bosher is averaging 52.4 yards per punt, believe it or not. Contrast that
good.
with our guy, Tress Way, who's averaging 41.7 yards per punt.
Yeah, Tress has
That's
not
low.
been having a good season so far. And I don't know if it's because he had that one blocked and he's rattled or what's going on, but he's been off.
I don't know, but my point wasn't so much that Tress is doing terrible. It's that 52.4 yards per punt is just tremendous.
It's good.
That is tremendous.
it's
man,
good.
that's good. I don't, Hester's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, but he's a punt returner. They last a while. We know about that.
Yeah, and he's burned us before. I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive, but I'm hoping we can keep him out of the end zone at least this time.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Because it always comes down to these games. I said it before.
Bounds.
The
Just
Redskins
punted out of bounds.
Yeah, the Redskins are a team that have run up a lot of yards on teams in the run game, especially. They've stopped defenses from scoring a lot. What has killed us for the first quarter of the season is turnovers, penalties, and mistakes. And part of the mistakes are special teams. We get shot in the foot all the time with special teams. Hopefully, maybe we can get to the point where we have one game where we don't have a special teams goof up.
All right. Yeah, I'm worried about goofing up. And speaking of goofing up, let's go to some tweets.
Oh, yeah. So we put out on Twitter here to the Hogsty Twitter family, we asked, what do you think the Skins need to do to beat Atlanta? Let's see what kind of responses we got. And we got quite a few responses, actually, so I'll just read a few of them here.
Did one include locking up the Atlanta players in their dressing room so they can't come on the field?
Sadly,
because that's the only thing I think we can do to beat Atlanta.
Sadly, no. I think only Alex's mind would maybe go there for something like that. At Skins Weekly says they have to make Atlanta drive the field. No plays over 20 yards, making the score TDs from the red zone. And he had Skins Weekly had a few comments to us actually on this.
Come on, just be honest. It was 100 comments.
It might have been, but hey, I'm glad he's listening and paying attention.
Yeah.
On offense, he suggests screens to Thompson. Let's see. Tackle. We had a comment. Tackle well. Okay, I'll leave.
Do better, people.
Yeah, I'll leave the commenter off on that one.
Yeah.
Devonta Freeman can and should be controlled by the front seven. Stay in your gaps and do your jobs, which is very good advice. Unfortunately, the problem with that, I think, is even if we stop Devonta Freeman, that might not stop the Falcons.
I would rather make Devonta Freeman try and beat us than make Matt Ryan try and beat us.
Who tweeted that to us, Steve?
That was Skins Weekly again. At Skins Weekly.
Oh, okay.
We had another one here. Upset the Falcons by taking away the run and making them one-dimensional. On offense, dink and dunk and finish drives with TDs. That's cool as crud.
Cool.
Who is a friend of
actually
ours.
disagree with that completely.
Different cat.
Yeah.
Different cat. I like you, but I would go the other way. I would rather try and make them beat us with the run game.
Yeah, that's me too. But unfortunately, I don't know if we have the ability to do that.
I don't think we do.
Let's see here. I'm going to read this comment just because I love the guy's name. The comment was that he sees Matt Jones busting one out to the house. Just saying. The name is Save the Tatas. That was the name of the commenter. So I would like to see Matt Jones bust one out, but I really just
for the Tatas.
Yeah, I just wanted to read the name.
I love the Tatas. Okay.
Let's see. You have any more here? You want me to read any more? There's more.
If there's any more that you think are worth it, sure. Or otherwise, let's move on to game predictions.
Okay, let's move on. I think this game is going to turn ugly.
Yep.
And it's going to turn ugly from the beginning, and it's going to stay ugly the entire game. I think it's a combination of on the road, let down game after a big win, facing a high-powered offense does not equal bueno. So I'm thinking this game may be along the lines of, say, 30-7.
I have more confidence in our offense than 7. I'm with you that I don't think the Skins can pull this one out. I am thinking 35 to like a 27.
That's right about where I am too, actually. I'm thinking 35-21.
35-21?
You think we're going to actually score 3 touchdowns? Here's my problem. I didn't mention this. Can I do it? Maybe do this as a closing thought for me?
Sure. Go ahead.
I didn't mention this, but the Redskins are number 1 in the NFL in time of possession, but Atlanta's number 2. You know, and even with a passing attack, and so that means they're doing a lot of short passes. You know, they're driving their way down the field. Well, something's going to give because both teams can't do this, and so that's why I think this is a game or maybe a blowout, one way or the other, because both teams aren't going to control the field, and it may be a case where things start to. I think it's going to be a case where things start to snowball, and it's just going to go ugly fast, which is why I said this doesn't strike me as a game where it's going to be competitive and a high scoring to the end because of the nature of the offenses.
Yeah, and I have them scoring 3 touchdowns, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they score quick.
Do you see it like a Giants game where we score a lot in garbage time?
Maybe 1 or 2 could be during garbage time.
Well, that may be the case. Yeah, that may be the case because I just think it's not going to be. I hate to be. I feel like I'm always negative on this show, and I don't like that. But you know, I call it like I see it. This is not going to be a competitive game where we're competitive in this game till the end. I don't think.
Well, I don't think we're going to win. I'd like to see at least some competitiveness, and I'll be happy. Speaking of being happy, we have a big interview lined up for early next week, everybody. This one's going to be exciting. I'm not going to say who yet, but let's just say he's got a couple of rings on his hands, and it's going to be a big interview. But you'll have to tune in when it happens. Everyone, you can check us out now. Like I said, we're back on iTunes. And we are on Twitter at thehogsite.com as well as on Facebook at Hail to the Hogs. If you want to email us, it's thehogsite@gmail.com. But that's it. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye, folks.
We all know what that was.
I don't know. It wasn't it was just it wasn't intended to be anything. But.
We all know what it was.
I liked it though.
I'm pretty sure it was Kermit.